तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुए एक फसल का है तो प्रोजेक्ट देखने वाला बोलता है हम लोग नहीं जानते आपको टेक्निकल पूछिए अब ये कहाँ फंस गए ये फंस गए ओवर टीवी पहले चेक बॉल की टीवीटी परमिट प्रोफाइल बनाया तो कनेक्टिविटी चेक प्लस नो सुपरवाइजर का नाम के गौरी एक रहे वर्क पर सुरेश नाम है करो नाम सुरेश है तो एक साला के नाम है ना गौरी गारो का नाम रहे पहले पर के वो सब के लिए टीवीटी में का नाम है कि हम मतलब टीवीटी नहीं हो तो ये काम के करवा सेफ्टी के कि भाई तू चेक करो तो भाई कागज बने हुए तो यही बात पहले फोन तो सारा एक जमा डाल देना तो जितना गलती कर तो अच्छा है तो मामले है कौन क्या शुरू बस कौन क्या के रेनू बहुत बताया कुछ बोले थे बहुत बहुत के हुआ और लोग सब पूछा था कौन हो उठाई उन्हें इन्वेस्टिगेशन उन्हें पूछता है पर बोले तो हमने यही आपको मान लो आपने कनाडा पुलिस लोग तो तार पूछा था कौन दूसरा है पूछा था और मैं चारों बोले तारे तो क्या कर सकते मैं तो नहीं आते पाएगा बस हाँ, तो वही बात है। इस वाले चल रहा है वो जेल में करे डाउट रहा लेकिन रिन्यू कागा पुलिस ये थी मैंने जेल में मैंने बच्चा समझ के सुना समझ के उनके 3 बार की जेल में कहाँ पर तो क्या बोली जा रही हाँ नंबर का फोटो है बोले ना क्या समझ रहे ठीक है हाँ स्टैंडर्ड चाहिए ना कि लोग सोचते थे कि मान लो यार सर्टिफिकेट का लक्षण तो साइड पर तो काम धंधा नहीं करेंगे ये लगा बहुत चलता है ध्यान से वाली कुछ वेरी गुड बहुत कम की बाबा ये सब कुछ ये नॉलेज से बोल ऐसे और समझ ला कि सब केवल बहुत है तो बता तो कुछ कर पाता है अगर नहीं तो साइड हो जाएगा गलती को क्या करता है ये तो नहीं बोला ना डायरेक्ट पहले नहीं बोला कराना वाला तो हम मटेरियल वाली बोल दिया नौ लगे हम नहीं जाते ना बताए ये तो नॉर्मल करना पहले नीचे आके तो इधर कर कोई दे नाना के बोला करना शुरू कर तो हम जो बिना गाइडेड होके कौन से उतार मुझे उतार मुझे मां उतारता घंटा लगते
Okay, so I'm audible. Yes. Yep. Okay, we are discussing about confined space. Uh, just let me know if you people are able to hear me and you're able to see the PDF. Okay. Yep. Thank you. So, confined space or vessel entry. A confined space is defined as an area which is not designated for continuous human occupancy. Visible, not audible. What about others? Temple is having an issue. Rest are able to hear me? Senthil, can you please rejoin? Maybe it is a network issue. Just rejoin so that we'll see. Okay. Yeah. Here the main the keyword is not designed for continuous occupancy. So it is the keyword with respect to confined space, and it is a large enough for a person to bodily enter in the area and perform the assigned work. It has got a limited or restricted means of entry and exit. So it is a large enough for the person to bodily enter. In the sense, it is in a sufficient space a person can enter with his body. And also it got a limited or restricted means of entry and exit, and may or may not be enclosed. So limited interest means you can't escape from wherever you want. Like if it is an open ground, I can escape from all the directions. Or if it is in an area, if it is a shop floor, I can escape from all the directions. If it is in a workstation, I can escape from all the directions. Being it is in a confined space, there I have only one entry and one exit. From there only I can enter. If at all required, from there only I can able to escape. So here they've given annexure C as a permit copy. So if you say a confined space is subjected to a potential hazards, namely accumulation of toxic or flammable gas or vapor, inert gases, oxygen deficiency below 20%, and flooding of liquid, steam, or any other hazardous substances, or developed of hazardous conditions. Maybe during or at the beginning of the activity, the conditions all are in under limit. While performing an activity, it created a hazardous condition. In that case, this development of hazardous conditions comes because of your activity, or you're doing any welding. You're not provided any exhaust for the welding fumes to go out. So if you keep on doing welding, the welding fumes or the fog or the smoke which is generated, if it is accumulated in the confined space, it will replace the presence of oxygen in the atmosphere. So there it has become hazardous condition. And some of the examples of confined spaces will be tanks or columns, reactors, severe pits, collars, condensers, reservoirs, even fire hydrant, sump tanks or water tanks, syntax tanks. All this comes under confined spaces. Okay. And if you see where deficiency of oxygen or presence of toxic flammable gases is likely to be. So here the thing is, it is also includes the column secretors and also large diameter pipeline, storage tanks, spacers or bullets, bins or silos, sumps and trenches, pits, seviers, furnaces, flare stacks, gas turbine chambers, underground service lines, work in open type vessels deeper than the head level. So if you see here, work in open type vessel, depth deeper than head level. If it is, even though it is completely open, if it is deeper than your head level, it is also considered as a confined space. Boiler drums, surface condensators, flue ducts, heating, ventilation, air conditioned ducts, fall ceiling. So sometimes fall ceiling, if the people are working under fall ceiling also, it is a confined space. And the floors, deck of floating roof or tank, etc., where the deficiency of oxygen or presence of toxic flammable gases is likely to or comes under confined spaces. If there is an oxygen deficiency, it will fall under confined space. Okay. Then excavation. Excavation simple that if you are excavating more than 30 meters, 30 centimeters, above than 30 meters, which will be come under excavation. Further, there is a permit annexure D. And electrical works, for carrying out any electrical work or positive isolation of any electrical energy or power driven equipment is essential. A separate permit, that is electrical work permit, shall be issued for the electrical work, and annexure E shall be followed to issue the electrical work permit. And work at height, it is also simple condition. If you are working above 1.5 8 meters. A separate permit is required for the work at height. Sometimes the combination of permits also may require. For that, there is an annexure F. And radiography, it is mostly not applicable for the most of the operations. For jobs, a radiography or any pipelines or equipment isolation or restoration of radioactive sources is essential. Where you are using this radioactive materials as a source, or you're retrieving it, or you're using it for any specific activity. So in those cases, you have to use this permit, which is under annexure C. Now we'll see the details and also procedure for the work permit formats. So if you see here, the work permit format contains several sections and provides checklist for the issuer and the acceptor to identify the different hazards. As I mentioned in the initial pages, these two together, like issuer and the acceptor, they'll combinedly they'll do the risk assessment or hazard identification. And also associated with the work, and also what precautions and also procedure to be followed in carrying the job in a safer manner. Apart from hazards, they'll try to identify the precautions and the details of the different items in the various sections of the permit as follows. So what and all will be the sections. Now we'll see the contents in the permit. So there are questions I have seen in especially in what do you call long answers. They will ask you to write about the work permit and write about the various sections which will be there in the permit, and also they will ask you to write what are the advantages of following the work permit system. So if you see a job particular in the sense area, specific location, the following details which is relevant to the work related filled by this section. Plant, which is exactly the manufacturing unit or plant or non-process facility, where exactly an area section, part of the facility. One is facility. For example, facility is your production block. In the production block, where exactly you are working, the part of the facility. And the production block exactly work chestnut. And the work permit is to be issued to the person or agency who are interested to carry out the work, in the sense acceptor. Then date and time, that is the second part. One is plant, area section to whom we are giving, then date and time. Date and time is no permit should be issued directly to the contractors. A work permit must be bear with the person or employee name and also designation with his department or discipline. No permit should be issued directly to the contractors. Here we are not issuing the direct permit to the contractors. At least our plant personnel should be involved in this. Once again, 4-1. Okay. Then equipment tag number. It is about the what kind of equipments you are putting the lotto, and specific limitations of the work permit. We have to mention, is there any limitation, do's and don'ts with respect to the area where they are performing, and specific instruction to the work permit holders, if any. Then job description. Job description will be the activity what they are performing. Job description will be the activity they are performing. That is the job description. It is nothing but simply what they are doing. And name of the contractor. If the contractor is planned for the carrying out of the job, the name of the contractor to be mentioned by the person who is executing the job. So who is executing? Definitely our plant personnel will be the executor by involving the contractors. The nature of the job, identifying the nature of the works helps to decide the appropriate precautionary measures during the work progress, and select the nature of the job mentioned in the hot work or vessel entry, or where the job is flame producing or spark producing. If it is not specified under this nature of the work, then select the mentioned of the activity. Then we'll fill the checklist. So if it is any process equipment normally handles hazardous substances under various operating conditions, like high temperatures or pressures or jobs or equipment to be made safe from the potential hazards are also present due to the nature of work. Then in case of involving road repair or any excavations, etc., the access by the emergency services may be hindered, and also it is necessary that those services are informed before such work is carried out. Sometimes what will happen, we will have emergency services, telephonic communications or any other cables or fire hydrant system, fire hydrant lines which will be passing through the roads. So in case of any such work is happening, that activity to be informed to the this emergency equipment owners. And authorized procedures should be in place for the work involving hydrojetting, hot tapping and excavation, etc. And also the compliance of these procedures ensure safe execution of the job. So we have to follow the procedures with respect to the activity. Then before issuing the work permit, the area in charge must be ensured that the equipment or area involved is safe to proceed with the work, and also no hazards could be carried out or created on the work to be done. So it's the responsibility of the area in charge to ensure there is no hazards could created on the work they are going to perform. The following checklist is identifies the various precautions identified to carry out the work safely. Now it comes with the isolation checklist or isolation or blinding. Isolation or blinding in the sense, in case of any pipelines or which are in, will they say blinding? Isolation may be with respect to electricity. Sometimes it will be used as vice versa. So how we'll do isolation? By closing the valve, a tight shut, and also keep the drain vent valves open between the equipment and also isolation valve. First, we will stop the supply. Then whatever the portion which is there inside the pipeline, we will drain it off. By closing the double block valves and also keep between the blend open system. By closing the isolation valve tight and shut the innerting blind the same classification. It means that once you have done the cut off the supply, you will drain, then you will clean it, then you will purge the any inert gas if it is in a hydrocarbons. Then isolation methods. So they are reliable and also should not be adopted for the jobs involving hard work or entry into confined spaces and the services of the hazardous chemicals. So A and B. So these two should not be reliable and also should not be adopted for in case of it is a hazardous chemicals. And positive isolation by the slip blinds. So in the sense they will put the blinds in between the flange, they will use to control. Open all the lines have to be end blinded where the equipment is to be removed from site and also sent for the repairs. So if at all your equipment is permanently removed from the specific location, so in that case what we do, we will whatever the open pipelines or isolated, those will be put dummy. And effective process for isolations have to be ensured that the issuer, depending upon nature and also duration of the work, is about the duration of activity of the nature of work they are performing, it will be different. And here the important point is the issuer should decide whether such isolation is adequately safe or not. Again, the issuer comes into the picture. He has to ensure that before signing on the permit, whatever the isolation done, it is being adequately safe or not. Then job involving hot work or entry into confined spaces, positive isolation by insertion of slip blinds and also physical disconnections and also blinding live ends are necessary. So if it is a hot work or confined space, putting a positive isolation by the slip plates or slip blinds in between the flanges and completely physical disconnection or blinding the live ends. So especially for the nitrogens in pharmaceutical industry, they will physically disconnect. They won't depend on the blinds and all. Or nitrogen lines are physically disconnected and also move away from the flange. Then also isolation tag, do not operate tag to be placed and do not operate Then area operator or issuer is responsible for securely attaching the isolation tags to the equipments or walls, and also for removing the same after the work is completed. Area operator in the sense, if you are working on any equipment or any reactor, you are the operator for that mission, or I can say other way, supervisor. Block in charge or block manager will be the issuer. Area operator will be the your respective area owner. Then depressurization in case of any pressurized lines or any equipment for the depressurization. Washing or steaming or purging, it is about the cleaning of the equipments. It may be required for the decontamination of intended equipment completely by washing off cold, hot water, steaming or purging with inert gas or any necessary. It is with respect to the chemical industries, the vessels, the reactors or ANFDs or centrifuges. So wherever tanks, if it is any confined space activity to be done, it has to be completely washing or steaming or purging to be done. Then electrical isolation and restorations. The procedure for electrical work permit to be followed, an electrical work permit with a date to be mentioned at the appropriate place in the permit, and also tagging to be done by all the agencies or as per the procedure. All the agencies, in the sense, who and all involved in this activity, their tagging must be done. Tag in the sense, it is not about keeping a tag of it. There, the lock should be there, and they have to share the locks everybody by all the agencies. And mechanically blocked or avoided rotating. So apart from these isolations, some of them they used to do the mechanical locking also for the jobs rotating equipments. The rotor or any of the other rotating part are completely stopped before working on it. Okay. The use of non-sparking tools wherever you are working in hazardous atmosphere. Okay. And these are general requirements. Here it is. So there is an other required covered by the effective following for the surrounding areas or any hot lines or valve glands or flange joints to avoid the potential exposure of working person to any health hazards, to avoid fire hazards due to the sparks or welding slag are released during the hot work. So in the sense, in case of any pipeline or any storage tank which is nearby, it has to be isolated in such a way that because of the activity, it should not get in or create a situation where the accident can happen. Then necessary temporary crossover or barricading should be provided to prevent the working personnel falling into the drains or severe during work. So it is about the closure of the pits which is close by or uses of safety belts to avoid the fall of people. Then portable fire extinguisher to be provided. Wherever the hard work is carried out, appropriate fire extinguisher should be made available. Then running water hose. If the hard work is carried out in a hazardous area or fire water hose connection connected to the fire hydrant is to be kept ready so that it can be used where emergency arises. It is about connecting of fire hydrant line so with the fire hose, keeping it ready for in case of any situation comes in, we can use. Return to earthing cable should be provided for all the welding cables and also should be insulated. Here it is about providing of earthing connections. Then ladder, where there is no permanent platforms are available. So whenever we use a ladder, there is no permanent platforms. There we use the ladders. Generally, what will happen? And also ladder temporary or fixed mobile platforms, scaffold must be provided. If no, case make a shift arrangement like drums, etc. should be made and specify the appropriate type of ladder to be used as per the work at permit and also height procedures. There we have to mention what is the specific type of ladder they should use. It has to be mentioned in the permit. Then it's about confined space certified for the use. So before using, it has to be certified use for the suitable identification tag to be provided. Then radioactive sources isolation. So if it is about there is no isolation possible, then it should be physically removed like hazard hierarchy control, how we see. If isolation, first is elimination, if not possible, isolation. Here the isolation not possible, we have to remove the source of the radiography. So in case you are doing any welding, cutting or grinding operations or spark generating, there you have to use additional fire protection measures like wetting the nearby area by spraying water or wet fire blankets can be specified. So it is about the blanketing the area. Then escape route should be checked and also cleared before any work is happening. So if you are doing any activity in the production area, so generally what will happen? Definitely we'll have emergency exits. So those exits must be cross-checked or verified whether those exits are clear or not. Sometimes what will happen, those exits are blocked by the materials or fruits, or for temporary, or some of the exits may be permanently blocked for the metal storage. Then ventilation. So isolation blinding nearby the nitrogen line is to be ensured. So for any activity, if you're working in confined spaces, the additional air supply to be made using either air or hose or mover or air blower. Isolation or blinding of nearby nitrogen line to be ensured. So I have seen many cases. I think now it is not happening. Previously, I think there are cases. Instead of breathing air, the people used to connect to the nitrogen because all the pipelines are nearby. Accidentally, they will connect with a air suit with a nitrogen line. Okay. Next. So use of portable 24 volts lamps for the hazardous atmosphere. After completion of preparation of vessel, okay to enter tag is to be displayed by the issuer on the manhole. So this is also one of the requirement. So once the vessel is completely ready, once again. Okay, then standby person. So a trained standby person must be always available at the manhole of the tank during the confined space entry. Requirement by the standby fireman to be uh, decided by the control room shift in charge. So a standby person or a fireman. Fireman with respect to the hot works, standby person with respect to the confined spaces. They must be there. Then personal protective equipment, additional PPEs to be specified by the issuer, depending on the nature of the work and also the hazards which is involved. So generally they'll have a list of PPEs to be used. Apart from that, in case of any additional PPEs which is specified by the issuer, those PPEs has to be provided. So the PPEs will be hand gloves, ear protection, face shield, full body harness, body protection like PVC suits, galvanized suits, cold suits. This depends on the nature of activity, like leg or foot protection, like safety shoes or gumboots, etc. Then online air breathing apparatus, then airline mask or SCBA or cartridge gas mask. It depends on the nature of activity. They will specify what kind of PPEs to be used. You see here, where a person is likely to be exposed to a toxic substances during work, either in open or in a confined space, an appropriate respiratory protection is required to be specified. Also, the respiratory protection is also required where a workman or environment is inert or oxygen percent is less than 20%. So sometimes if the toxic atmosphere present case also we need a respirator, or where the oxygen is less, there we can go with a SCABA, or wherever the toxic gas which is present there we'll go with a airline mask or cartridge mask. The person required to use respiratory equipment must be trained and also validated. So it is not about simply giving a mask, ठीक है, use करो. It is about we have to understand, we have to make them aware, we have to train them on how to use this mask. The dust mask is specified where the person are likely to be exposed to the hazardous dust or any fibrous particles. Okay. Then gas testing, it is especially for the confined space work and also the hot works where we are trying to work near the operations or in hazardous atmospheres. A permit issued for the carrying of the jobs covered under hot work and also vessel entry for entry into the excavated pits and also the vehicle entry inside the plant area to be done. And it is proposed to carry out the gas test of hydrocarbons content within the 5-meter radius and also the work location for the welding jobs, including drain channels and also close to the plant joints where the glands and also adjacent equipments. So generally in the hot works, we'll see in the hot work area. It is required that within the 5-meter vicinity, we have to look for the hazards. Okay. So now we'll see a permissible gas test result. So here we'll see oxygen content minimum 19.5%. Then hydrocarbons LEL, it is 0, lower explosive limit. Oxygen will be minimum 19.5%. Then TLV, below the threshold limit TLV, and also the chemical of which the equipment tanks are being used. It is the threshold limit value. This you can refer from the MSDS of that specific chemical which is used in that container or tanker or vessel. Then reporting of gas test results. The gas test should be done prior to the issuance of the work permit to the acceptor and also repeated just prior to the starting of the hot work and also confined space. Before issuing permit, you have to done, and also immediately before starting. Maybe they will do gas testing in the morning 10 o'clock, but they will start work at 1 o'clock. In between, you will have almost 3 to 4 hours of time. By the time, maybe the chemical would have entered or any fumes have been entered inside, it is settled down. Some of the vapor density is very high. They'll go to the deeper or to the lowest pockets where it is trying to settle. It may happen. So before starting of the work also, it has to be tested. And the result should be reported by the plant personnel authorized by the plant HOD or area in charge. Okay, it has to report it to him. And also, as per the work conditions, the type of work being carried out, it is necessary to do a gas test at regular intervals. It depends on nature of activity. We have to do on regular intervals. And the gas test should be done at every renewal and also revalidation of the work permit. So every renewal. So whenever a work permit gets renewal, the gas test has to be carried out. Revalidation in the sense it has to be carried out again whenever renewal happens. Now we'll see the approval mechanism, how this permits gets approval. Okay. Upon compliance on all the as per the points in the checklist or other special precautions or procedures, the permit will be finally approved by the issuer, and the job executor of the plant HOD shall be authorized hot work and also vessel entry permits and excavation permits. If you see, finally approved by the issuer and the job executor. The plant HOD shall be authorized hot work and vessel entry permits. Head of the plant. It is not about the HOD, head of the unit. The job executor shall mention the name of the contractor if the contractor is performing the job. If you are saying your employee is performing, it is fine. If the contractor being involved in this, he has to mention the contractor name. Then issuer. Is the operating plant area of the shift in charge shall issue the permit for the area under his jurisdiction. For the jobs, a pipeline or also production utility, supplier shall initiate and also the permit if the work is to be carried out to the battery limit of receiving plant. Inside the battery limit, the receiving plant shall be issue a permit after confirming due to the safety precautions at the supplier end, and also the issuer is the employee of the company and no person can issue work permit to himself. Always the issuer will be the plant personnel and we should not issue permit for themselves. So being they are doing it, they should not issue permit themselves. They used to say that, "Ye mera area, it is my place only. I am writing the permit, I am issuing it." No. All the HODs can authorized personnel working under them to issue the permit for the areas under his jurisdiction. And also a list of employees who was authorized. It has to be made ready. Who are authorized to issue a permit. So it is about, we have to make a list of people authorized to sign and we have to keep it in the all the plants and the areas. Those people only should sign on the permit. Okay. We have 3 minutes. I am stopping the session here. Still we can't able to complete. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Till the approval, because issuer still we have not yet completed. Till the section 7, you can ask if you have any questions. Yes, Praveen, you can ask now.
Question just for a call.
Sir,
Am I
Hello?
audible, sir?
Yes, you are
Hello.
audible.
Am I
Praveen.
audible? Yes, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
So, if some person takes it work permit from the issuer for a certain time limit, and if that work is extended to another 2 hours or 3 hours, is again the issuer will issue the fresh work permit, or it will be extended upon the
No, it will be extended. That's where the renewal part comes in. It will be extended.
Okay.
So in the permit itself,
Okay.
we definitely will have a column for the extension. Need not to write a new permit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Noted. Noted.
Sir, usual permit 8 hours or 12 hours ఇవ్వచ్చు sir, continue.
It is for 8 hours only.
Only 8 hours.
Yes.
And second question, sir, 8 hours తర్వాత ఎన్నిసార్లు రెన్యువల్ చేయొచ్చు సార్ వర్క్ పర్మిట్ సేమ్ యాక్టివిటీకి?
That we'll see in the format. Even I am also not completely aware. I think maximum only one extension will be there, not more than that.
One extension.
Yeah,
8 hours continue.
8 hours they'll go. Like for example, 9 to 5 they used to give. If it is so critical, they will extend for another 1 hour or 2 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.